Hey, it's Olivia and welcome to Invisible Chains. Today we are going to be talking about different types of work and, kind of from my experience as an entrepreneur, as a student, and as someone who always has a project brewing. So let's just dive right into it. I like to categorize first work into exciting work and into boring work. So what do I mean by that and how do you balance the two? So exciting work, I would say, is that type of work that really puts your soul on fire, really gets you riled up, really gets you motivated to keep going. You feel very aligned with it. You feel like, oh, this is so fun, right? That's what I would say is exciting work. And for me, that usually is work when I'm talking with an entrepreneur and they say like, oh, what you've done has been so impactful. And then after the call, and I'm like, oh goodness, that's exciting. I just impacted someone's life and helped them learn something about business. That's exciting work to me. Also exciting work can be just fun work. I really like writing, photography. Sometimes that's fun work for me. You really feel engaged with it. You really feel like all there, very present. It's not very hard to get started on because you just love it. You really love it. I would say with exciting work, some things they start out as exciting work, and then once you get more into them and get more skilled at them, it becomes a little more burdensome because you realize there's a little bit more to it than you thought. So just because something is exciting work at some point in time doesn't mean it can't transition to the next type of work. And this work is called boring work. And this is the work that's a little bit harder to get started on. Let's face it, we all know that type of work. It's not very engaging. You're not usually working with people. You're usually staring at a computer screen. It usually involves some kind of spreadsheets. It's usually very tedious. It's usually really hard to get started on. Sometimes it's quite ambiguous, and sometimes it's quite complex too, and it's very confusing, and there's a lot of different steps you have to go through. Or maybe it's just very mundane. Maybe it just isn't the kind of work that really engages you and excites you. And that's, again, that's the main difference between exciting and boring is when we're doing exciting things, we're really all there and we're present. When we're doing boring things, we want to be somewhere else because we are not engaged. But the thing with boring and exciting work is that we somewhat need a balance of them, not just in our careers, but in our life. Because, not everything is going to be exciting all the time. An essential skill as a creative person and as an entrepreneur is getting through sometimes the boring work, even if it was once exciting, to be able to accomplish your goals, but also being able to do that boring, hard work in life, because that's sometimes what puts you ahead, because in its nature, boring work is boring and people don't really want to do it. So if you're able to put yourself, in a mental space where you're able to get that boring work done, you're, first of all, being procrastination, which is a huge problem for a lot of people, including me. So you're able to get over that, and you're able to put yourself at a competitive advantage, whether you're trying to get ahead at work or you're trying to get ahead as an entrepreneur. And sometimes boring work is very necessary, and it can mean, it can even apply to life. I thought about this recently. Just cleaning your house, just doing the dishes, or doing your hair or doing your makeup. It can get really boring and tedious, and you've done it a lot. Sometimes it is important when you're starting out, to continue to do that boring work. The maintenance work sometimes. It's as Stephen Covey, who is a author of one of my favorite books, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's something that he would call production capacity. You have to maintain, the machinery for it to continue to produce. Let's say it's like an auto parts manufacturing facility. If you want to continue to produce tires, you got to make sure the machine is running properly, and you got to maintain it. You got to put the materials in for it to produce. So it's sometimes the boring work is really that production capacity work. It's the work that you need to put in to get that input. It'll lead to a really exciting result, but the process might be, slightly boring work. I did this a lot with, traditional education. A lot of the time, it's very boring work that students have to go through. We have to study, we have to take exams, and there's a lot of other distractions as a college student that are much more exciting work you'd rather be doing. But to get the desired outcome, that will lead to better things like graduating, getting a good job, you kind of need to put in the hours of studying so you can learn the material and then maybe do something with the material in your job later on. But it's like you have to put in that boring work.